All right, this is Atlas's first time going over the poles here, so I'm just going to kind of lead him over using my hand as a target, and he's a little apprehensive. He kind of wants to sniff it. I'm just going to kind of go to the inside and see if he'll fall over, and he's not quite sure, but I'm just going to show him like a little bit clearer, like, oh, I want you to come over here, and he's still not so sure. So I'm staying between him and the fence because if he gets a little worried, he's just going to kind of run away like toward the middle. So that's where I'm at. I don't want to be on the other side. Like if I was on his left shoulder, I don't want him to kind of run between me and the pole and run me down. So I'm just kind of positioning myself in a good, safe way. So he got a little closer to it, so I clicked and fed him, and that time he touched it with his nose, so I'm going to click and feed him. So he's just kind of a little bit more interested in it, so I'll click and feed again because he was just very like not so sure. He did not really want to go over it at all. So I'm just trying to build some confidence and see if he'll just step over it. And that was very nice. So I click as he goes over, and then he can touch my hand and I'll feed him and click for that again. So usually when they're going over the poles, I'll click as they go over, and then like once the horse is over, I'll have them do another behavior so they're not stopping over the poles all the time. So like that, I clicked when he went over, and then he kept going toward my hand target, and then he touched that, and I clicked again and fed him. So, and this way he was really good. He's pretty confident now. He's like, okay, well, I just can step over. It's not a big deal. So poles are something that Atlas struggles with. So this was his first time. It was a good experience, but we're going to work some more on those in the future. So this is going to be a different day. And we're just going to do some more desensitizing here to the half pad. So he touched it there. I'm going to click and feed him. So this video is just Atlas doing obstacles and working with some obstacles. So I had him target there. He touched it, and I'll click and feed. So the first thing he did was go over pole, and now we're going to look at some desensitizing to some saddle pads. So I just hung this half pad up on the fence. I just want him to touch it a bit. I'm going to hang this full-size saddle pad up on here, and I'll have him touch that too. And he's just kind of focused on the white one there. He touched that one, so I'll click and feed him. He was kind of stuck on the white one there because he knew he was going to get a treat for it. So just trying to show him some new stuff and get him used to some stuff without being real stressed about it. Just kind of like, I want him to know that seeing and touching new things earns him a treat. So he'll want to go see new things and new objects versus being terrified of them. So I'm just kind of moving this pad around. I want it to move up and down. He was more afraid of the movement because it was a little windy that day. So he was afraid of it blowing in the wind more than he was just the saddle pad itself. So I'm just trying to move it, and then once it moves up to him, he'll like reach his nose out and touch it. So I'll click and feed him for that. So just a nice little introduction to the pads, and I'm on the other side, so if he wants to run away, that's totally fine. I'm not in the way. He's a little apprehensive there, wants to spook a bit when I took it down, so have him come back and touch this one again. But I mean, I could be on the inside too. If you're going to be in the pen with him, that's fine. Just make sure you're kind of between the pad and the horse, so you don't end up like, I wouldn't want to be standing like to his left, or to his left, to my right in the video where the pole is, because if he were to kind of spin to his left and run off, that would be bad, and I would be stuck in the middle. Especially with obstacles and despooking things, you really have to take into account your body positioning so that you don't get run over if the horse spooks, and you can kind of put yourself in the best position. So I just had Atlas touch that lariat. He wasn't too worried about touching that. He's seen the lariat a little bit before, and I'll kind of mess with that more later on. And then I got like this little beach ball, and I'm going to let him touch that a little bit and just target it. And it was pretty windy, so I'm going to put it in the round pen here in a minute, but it's probably easier if you have like a heavier ball, or if it's not a windy day, because this one's just really light, so it kind of blows around a bit. So I stuck it on the fence so he could see it without it moving. But here I'm going to move it around a little bit and show it to him while it's moving. But just make sure that you're away from the ball, like realize where it's going to push your horse, and kind of want to be on the other side of that, because now he's like, oh, I really want to touch it, I really want to touch it, and I'm like, well, you don't understand what it's going to do, it's going to be scary, it's going to be different. So just trying to throw it away from me, and trying and keep myself at a good distance from him, because he's going to probably run away from it. So I just want to keep it kind of in front of him so he can spin away if he needs to, and I'm not in the way. So like a good idea here would be just for me to kick the ball, and then so it's ahead of me, and he can follow behind so he can build some confidence following it. I don't want it to appear like it's chasing him in any way, so, but just be mindful of like where your position is at. So, you know, the wind was kind of blowing that way, so I was like, nope, get away, like, because I really didn't want to be, I kind of move him here because I didn't want him between me and the ball, because the ball still is rolling and he gets scared, he's going to run me over. So I was just like, nope, let's, like, and this is a good opportunity for him to work on body positioning. I was like, no, just scoot over. Like, I don't want it to be a punishment. I'm just like, no, I don't want you next to me right now, is all it is. It's not like I'm mad at him or anything. It's just a safety thing. So it's good to like throw in there when you're working with your horse occasionally. Like sometimes, yes, I like him to come up and see me, but sometimes I want him to keep his space too. So, but now he's kind of touching the ball on his own and he's not super worried about it. So this looks pretty good. Just letting him follow it here. I definitely want him to follow it, so I start off with it stationary, then I have it leaving him so he can follow it, build some confidence, and then I'll have the ball kind of roll toward him. But you kind of got to be careful about that, so they're pretty confident before you do that. Let's see if I can throw it this way, because I wanted it to kind of roll toward him, like the wind was blowing that way, now it's not really rolling at all. There we go, and it kind of rolled toward him, but he kind of did like a little turn and kind of yielded his hindquarters, which was nice. So he wasn't super worried about it once it got in here, because I'm just doing like any other desensitized. If I kind of throw it down the long side there, he's got all that space off to his right. If he wants to run away, he can. So, and he's just not real interested. So not too bad. Not super spooky, because I like that it kind of moves around weird, but he did pretty good with that. So we'll just kind of put that away. And then I'm going to work with the pad a bit more. So the first part was just an introduction to the pad itself. So just, you know, see what it is. He's not really seen any saddle pads before. And if he has a harder time seeing them on the fence, like above him, he thinks that's a bit scarier. So that's why they were further down on the panels. And then I'm just going to introduce it toward him, so it's more in like a attacking up setting, and then I'll have it start touching him. So I just kind of touched him on the neck with it. So as like an addition to this, I would kind of, if I could redo this lesson part, I would just like wait until he's relaxed. And if he's too nervous, I'll just take it away, and then I'll work through that a bit before clicking, because I don't want him to click in that tension. So not all horses will do this, but especially with Atlas, I don't want any part of the tension being left in his training. So what I mean is, like, when I touched him on the neck the first time, he kind of jumped and I clicked. So I'm kind of saying, yeah, this is good, but he jumped, so I don't want to keep any of that in. So, and that is not true for all horses. Some will learn, like, this is great, and they won't be tense at all. But for him, that's what I've kind of found sticks with him. So, because clicker training can be pretty powerful, and they understand exactly what they're doing at that time is what I wanted. So I really want to be careful with that, and I'm just leaving it here a little bit. I wanted to see if he'll relax just a bit, and then I can take it away, because you can see that head come up as soon as I put it on his back. So that's just one little thing I would change about this, but overall, like, it's a decent exercise. I don't want that tension stuck in there. So that's something I would change about that. But I'm just kind of moving the mounting block around, and I want the pad to just kind of touch all over his body. I like using the half pad because it's smaller than the other one. So like here, I'm just going to wait and see if he'll kind of stay there. That was good. So he thought about moving and leaving, and then he didn't, so I took it away. That was nice. So I like using the half pad. It's easy to use. It doesn't flop around in the wind, and then it's just smaller in general, so he can kind of build some confidence with that. And then I'll bring out the full-size saddle pad later on and mess with that. But I like just using the half pad at first, kind of breaks things down, especially for the Mustangs. They can pretty much, most things need to be broken down for them, so it's pretty helpful for all things. So I'm going to do the same thing just on the other side here. I just kind of moved him closer to the camera so you could see. So same kind of situation. You don't have to use the mounting block. I like to use it most of the time. So, but I just moved him up here because he wasn't super worried about it. So I didn't think I necessarily needed the block. But I'm just letting him target it first, and then I'll go ahead and start touching him with it. So I could touch him on that. That was really nice. That was better than on his other side. He's usually a little bit nicer on his right side than his left. So like this was good. He's interested, and he's not super tense. Like he's not raising his head up a lot like he was on the other side. Like he raised it there, but that's only because I clicked. Like as soon as the pad comes on, he didn't raise it. He raised it afterwards. So like there, he's not super worried, and then he moves it a little bit. That's me clicking, and he just heard the sound. So, but same kind of process. Just kind of let him target it, and then I'll touch it on his neck, and then like I said on the other side, like I would wait till he relaxes, take it away. Bring it back up. If he's relaxed, I'll click and feed. And then I'll do that the whole length of his body on both sides. Okay, so moved him back over here, and we're just going to do, I just want it to sit on his back. So there he kind of flinched already, so I shouldn't have fed this. I should have just waited a second and then tried again. So I want to see like, okay, I see that you're worried. I'm going to take it away, and then we'll try again. But I only want to reward those times where he's being confident and being relaxed. So I shouldn't have rewarded that first time. So this is better. So I'm just kind of doing, so again, I shouldn't have rewarded that one because he's got his neck up, his back is hollow, he's a bit tense. So should not have done that, but this is a learning experience. So that's why I'm doing this. But so that was better. That one I can click. So I'm just kind of pretending like I'm going to put it up on his back, and working through that. So that's kind of as far as it got with the pad. And then I moved out into like at the middle area, and we're just going to work on introducing the trailer. So Atlas has been in the trailer. Obviously that's how he got here, but he was just like shooed in, like they just chase him in when you pick him up. So he has not been in the trailer other than that. And he's more worried type. So I just have him kind of touch the outside of the trailer first. He's not even by the back gate. So I just start by using the target, which is my jumping crop, and I just use it for targeting, and it has that nice little popper on the end, but I use it for them to touch. So works out pretty good. Like I started away from the trailer, and I just get a little bit closer, and then I bring that in and try to see if he'll eat off the side of it here. And he's like, oh my goodness, that's terrifying, because it's alfalfa pellets, and it's a bit windy, and it's kind of rolling on the metal, and it makes apparently a scary noise. So I'm just trying to get him to build some confidence there. He touched it with his nose, and he wasn't so sure. That's why, like in the beginning, I liked that he just didn't have a halter on. He could kind of explore at liberty, so he's not feeling trapped at all. So if he wants to leave, he can. If he wants to stay, he can. Like, that's great. So he targets here, so I click him and feed him, and he's just building up some confidence here. So, but we worked with the pad a little bit. I don't think I did it on the other side. I think I just did it on that one side, and I was kind of running out of time, so I had a couple other things I wanted to do. But you don't always have to do both sides as long as you remember to do it another day. But so I'm just going to work on building him up here just a little bit each time with each target. And eventually I'll just put the target like between him and the trailer. So like it'll just set on the trailer, like where the wheels are. So he'll end up touching it, but he'll also touch the trailer in the process. So that's my goal here. And I didn't realize that they were going to blow away and scare him. So that was a little bit of a setback, but overall, like he's going to need to, be desensitized to all the terrifying noises that the trailer makes. So, and it is quite windy. You can see my camera shaking around. But he's getting a nice little introduction to it. He's a bit tense, but I just want him to think that the trailers are good things. All he does there, he touched on his own. That was very nice. Like every time he goes to the trailer, there's treats. It's great. Nothing crazy. I want a positive association from the beginning. So that's all I'm after right now. So we cut to the arena, so I'm just going to let him go at liberty in the arena. So I've tried to get him out here and start working on some obstacles. I don't want to get stuck in the round pen too much, which I probably do anyways, but I just want him to touch these flower boxes. So we had just made these flower boxes, and they're new, and to some horses they're scary, some they're not. Atlas wasn't super concerned. I think Castor tried to eat the flowers. So they weren't super concerned, but I just used the target and I just let him sniff it. He's just sniffing the box and the flowers and exploring, and they make different sounds and smell weird, so I just kind of let him hang out. But I'm just clicking him for being interested and being calm, so just let him hang out and see what they're all about. He's just kind of going through it on his own here, and thinks they're pretty interesting. So I'm just going to see if he'll kind of walk and have them on his side so he can see them up front and then from the side, because some horses get a little spooked when they have to start moving around things. So I just want to see if I can, turn him around and see if he can see the flower boxes through his left eye, because sometimes things are more scary on one eye versus the other. So I just want to make sure that he's cool with it. And I wanted to play with the new flower boxes, so he's targeting them quite nice, and he's really not bothered by them at all. I had another horse that I brought into the arena after we had finished making these, and she was like, holy crap, what is this? So I just kind of let her look at them, and we gradually worked our way up to them. And then when she went and targeted them, she was like, oh, this is great. Like, this is just a big target. So she just go up there and touch them randomly. So, but it worked out really well for her. So I really like that method there. But I want him to just kind of go between them. So he got a little scared there, but it's not a big deal. I'm just going to say, hey, can you come? I want him to just walk between the two boxes and kind of work on like sending him between two things. We're going to practice for some trailer loading, just practice, just sending in general, walking between stuff. So make the space a little bit bigger here. And then he's got to see that like things move. I'm going to move this box. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So see if he'll come through here. He's a little unsure. Wants to kind of stick his nose back in the flowers, like his default behavior. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go around this way. So I'm like, well, all right, well, I'm going to go this way. Just like I did with the pole. I'm just going to kind of guide him here and see if he'll kind of cruise through there. He's like, nope, I can't go through there. That would be terrifying. So I just kind of play a little bit of keep away with him. There he went through a little bit, so I'm going to click him and feed him and be like, yes, you're going the right direction. This is what I want. And I'm just kind of try and lure him through here a bit. And you can do the same thing in a halter and lead rope too, which probably if I get another Mustang, I'll do that versus the everything at Liberty thing, just because for the sake of time, it just is a lot faster. So, but this was really nice. He walked through there pretty calm after checking it out. But yeah, I'd probably definitely going to use like a drag rope and immediately work on halter braking and then doing other things. But this is an experiment, so this is what we ended up with. But it does work. It did work pretty well. If you want to work your horse at Liberty with clicker training, this is definitely an option. So I liked it. I just kind of wanted it a bit faster. He's like picking his feet up over the drag mark because I pulled that flower box over. But he was really good. Once he figures it out, he's quite brave about it. He's like, oh, okay, it wasn't a big deal. So he can walk between them, and he's totally fine about that now. But I like to get them out in the arena, and he can walk over the poles and explore the jumps and just kind of be in a bigger environment too. It's different. It can be scary. So they need to get out of the round pen a bit. And I like moving these things around because I'm going to use these as jumps later and just kind of put him back, and he's used to things moving around. So he gets to see some sights and sounds and kind of work on some desensitizing. But all of these objects he did pretty well with, and we'll just kind of keep working on them and see how he progresses.